it's a beautiful day today, y'all. Today we are talking about this message that I just heard from Pastor Stephen Furtick. It was called the page turner. So in the page turner, he was given the context of saying how one is a villain and now they become a vessel. So that relates to my story and Tawny's story so prevalently because of the simple fact we were survivors and we are survivors of the stroke community, but we in turn are warriors because the villain was the stroke that happened to us. The vessel is our story behind it. And there's always so much that comes out of a mess. Our mess is the stroke that happened to us. Our mess is the process of recovery. Our mess is the life that we're living through outside of it. But the beautiful part is the vessel that we are, the vessel beings that we are as we are in this community, and we are enlightening other survivors to teach them ways to be a better transition in their life of recovery versus going through the things that we had to go through on our own as we were figuring out. So we are vessels. We are warriors in this community now. I'm stroke survivors saying, hey, we're going to take our mess and make it pretty. So therefore, your mess won't be as messy as our mess was. And that right there is a beautiful thing. So when you look at that, as to going back to the beginning, why I said page turner, it's so beautiful because that mess, we look at it as, oh my gosh, our family, our loved ones, everyone on the outside looks at it and says, this is the end. They had a stroke. They had a traumatic brain injury. They're paralyzed on one side of their body. They can't walk. They can't talk. They can't do anything on their own. They went from independent to now dependent. So you would think that's the end of our story. But God gave us a page turner. God gave us a page turner to say, hey, I need you all to be a vessel to the community. And it brought me also to a context I was having with another survivor. We were talking about, it's always as if sometimes we feel in a lot of cases that we are defending ourselves because we don't look like what we've been through. We're defending ourselves to say, because somebody initially always say, if I was to say a stroke, somebody they're like, oh, you didn't have a real stroke, you had a partial stroke, or
yours wasn't that bad. They must have caught yours early. You're lucky. I am lucky, but let's not negate. A stroke is a stroke. A mini stroke is still a stroke. Let's stop, no, you don't need to, it's a stroke.
It is, but that's the thing we get. So it's okay. I'm able to deal with that now. And generally, not always, but some of the times I'll open up a picture. I'll show them when I'm in a coma, when I can't walk, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, so you look like me. Oh, so your arm didn't work, your face was twisted, you stopped, all of the above." Yes, I did. And wow, how are you here at this point now? And then that's why I'm smiling, because I say, God is using me as a vessel. God is using Tawny as a vessel. God is using us as a vessel. So therefore, the others that are going through this and dealing with this to see that God's grace is over our lives. God's grace is over our life. So that's why it's a page turner. Our story and our journey right now is constant page turners. And the reality is, when we look at the people on the outside that we're trying to encourage, there's so many people that we may not know that are looking at us to say, hey, are they going to fall? Are they going to falter? Are they going to stop? Are they going to keep pushing? And I will even say this. I'm 5 years post, and I'm experiencing things 5 years that I haven't experienced in year 1, 2, and 3. And I'm like, wait, where's depression coming from? Where's this coming from before? Now, guess what? People are looking on the outside to say, hey, is this it for me? Are they going to fail? Are they going to keep going? Hey, we are going to keep going. We're talking about this. And I have to look in and I have to appreciate it to say, God, when people used to go through it so much, I would say in year 1, 2, or 3, I would be like, oh, I can't really relate. I understand the emotional roller coaster and all that, but I never really dealt with the deep depression or anything like that in the beginning. But guess what? You're the one that has a better testimony can say, hey, I went through it. This is why I'm talking about it. This is why I'm so passionate about it. This is how I came out of it. So me being a vessel, I'll take every part of the story that God is pushing me through to say, hey, I appreciate it, God. So therefore I can speak about it more. I can be a vessel to those. I can be that light to show people, in spite of all the things that I've went through and that I'm going through, I did not fall. I did not fail, and I am not going to. So he's given me the voice to speak, because I still can say, I get on a regular basis survivors that'll contact me and say, hey, can you talk about this, or can I talk to you about this? And I appreciate the fact that you're so vocal about your story and the things that you're going through, you went through in the past and still going through now, because so many people can't. They don't
Yeah.
have the voice to say it. They don't have the heart
And
to
you don't
say
want to. I
it.
don't know if you've
Exactly.
reached those messages yet. I've had people go, I don't know how you continue to go back there. Like I know people who are like, I won't go to the site where it happened. I won't talk about it. Like it happened to me. People around me don't even know about it because I just don't want to talk about it. And I everybody's way how they heal is valid. So let me say that again. Nobody's way of healing is better than anybody else's because we are all unique. But what helps is the more of us sharing, because I know people look at me and they go, she can't have depression. She's smiling a lot. Robin Williams, how many people do we have to say? The people who are usually smiling the most, like I tell people when I'm smiling, like I'm enjoy, like let me hold on to that smile because it took a lot of work to get there and to appreciate it. But also, I learned that my smile is a lot of masking. When I'm in pain, you can't tell. Like, I seriously, sometimes when I get hurt, like, people are like, it's like, I will be like, oh my God. Ow, 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 ow. And you're like, are you laughing? Are you laughing right now? Like, I'm like, I react freaking weird to pain. Okay. My pain tolerance is different and I don't react the same. But that doesn't mean that my depression is different than somebody else who chooses to wear black all the time and don't, and like, just cries all the time. I have the videos of me crying. I cry too. But that's not what depression is. And the thing that sucks about it is that it comes out of nowhere, and you can sit there and you can practice gratitude and you can try to rationalize it, but it is something that happens with many stroke survivors because of when blood hits your brain, it makes a chemical imbalance up there. It's natural. And the more, because when I first got diagnosed with depression, and why I advocate so hard for it now is I whispered it. I felt like it was like, oh no, they said I have depression. Like, how can I have this when, and I asked them, I go, when my eye was crossed in and I couldn't freaking get out of bed, I was like happy to be alive, no depression. I was like, oh my God, everything is great. I'm so grateful. And then all of a sudden it just hit me. And if it wasn't for not the doctors didn't tell me about this or warn me about it. It was a research. I signed up to be a participant in a research because I was only 28 when I had my stroke. So there's, the young stroke survivors. And they did a follow up 6 months later and they were like asking me all these questions. And I'm like, yeah, yeah. Cause I'm always very honest. And as I'm saying yes to all these things, I'm like, because I'm a psychology major. I have my bachelor's in psychology. I'm like, oh girl, you got depression. That's like check, check, check. Somebody check her.
Yes.
And I'm glad that we can share about that because I think for me that was the hardest thing in the beginning was just feeling so isolated because I was so young, because every doctor kept telling me I was so different. I just was like, something is wrong with me and no one else can help me through this or understand. And what truly helped me was talking to so many other survivors, different years out, different things, because you start you also get a little bit of great perspective. That's why I love, like, it fills my tank as much when someone asks me something, because it also helps me remember what I'm saying. Like when I see you doing a lot and I'm like, Trace, you better slow down, I'm like, hey, it's funny, that's why everybody tells you that. So it's, you need people around like that. And then I seriously, yesterday you helped me because we started working out, guys.
Yes.
So come along for the journey on Wednesdays. So work out on Wednesdays with us. And I texted you kind of thinking, oh, I'm like, we still doing that? We don't need to do it because sounds like we're busy. And she's like, oh no, we're doing it. So you need to have people around you who will help push you forward, but also remind you to slow down and to that, like, we are here to share. And I know, like I told my mom, the second brain surgery happened, I go, it happened for me so that I could raise more awareness. And because I had a lot of people, why do you still talk about your stroke? That happened like in May, it'll be 8 years. I've had people go, are we really still talking about this?
Really?
And oh yeah. So my new thing, and listen, I'm a little sassy, it's fine. I go, well, it was a big medical procedure that changed me and altered me. And they're like, well, and I go, can I ask you a question? Do you have a kid? And they're like, yeah. I go, well, are we still talking about that? Oh my God. Are we still talking about your freaking
You're
kid?
still talking about that kid that was born 15 years ago.
Let
Seriously.
it go. So my mom was like, Tawny, don't say that. I was
No,
like,
but
but
it's
I'm just to show the correlations, like when you're going through something, and that's what I want to stop. Hello, I'm so glad you make it. The gaslighting around medical stuff, like why is it? Oh, your stroke wasn't that bad. You didn't have that much. Why does it? We shouldn't compare traumas or what we've gone through. The worst thing that happened to you was the worst thing that happened to you, and it doesn't mean that your voice is bigger than mine or anything. If we could all help each other, it doesn't matter who it came from or what it is. Like, if you can share something that's going to help me feel less crappy and have a tip, I'm all ears. Does it help that you've had a lot of years in recovery? Absolutely. But I don't know why it turned into this like, oh, well, since you didn't have to relearn how to smile, I can't listen to you. It's like, what? Okay, well, I had to work pretty hard to get it back because there's a lot of depressy and stressy that happens. So I like it.
no, I love that because of the simple fact it is, because it goes back to what we've been pushing for the last month of why is it that because we don't look like what we've been through, why is it that we have to defend ourselves? And so we can look on the sassy end and say, because we're both very sassy, I really don't have to, but I want to because there's a bigger story behind it. There's more people. I'm not just fighting for myself, I'm fighting for those that can't fight for themselves. So I'm going to defend myself because what you're saying is pretty ridiculous and irrelevant, but because you felt the need to let it come out of your mouth, I'm going to defend it. I'm going to tell you that I did have a real, quote unquote, whatever you want to call a stroke. I did have to go through all of the things that you had to go through. I don't look like what you look like right now. I did. I look like this because, again, there's a difference. I can always, and I'm proud to say, the grace over my life. God has given me grace over my life. The grace over Tiny's life. God has given so many of us this grace because, again, we got to look at, you want to say, why does appearance matter? But let me tell you, appearance does matter. Appearance does matter, which that's going to take us to our topic next. Appearance does matter in the sense that so we got to look at it this way. The reason I'm going to say appearance does matter, and I don't want to hit too much on it, it goes when you the to the naked eye to say, hey, because you take care of yourself, you get your lashes, you get your nails done, you put your makeup on or whatever, you can't be sick. But if I came into your office looking crazy, mouth twisted, hair all over the place, clothes not fitting, and smelling, you say, "Oh, this person needs help." But because of this person with the disability says, "Hey, I still want to love myself," so I honor self care in myself.
Yeah.
In spite of having this disability, I honor self care in myself. I am not fully sick, or I cannot receive the same treatment as the person that comes in here with their self not fixed up. So that's a problem. So the appearance does matter in that sense, but also let's look at it this way. If I came on here and I didn't fix myself up, and I'm not doing it for anybody, I'm doing it for myself, but let's just look at the reality. If I came on here, didn't fix myself up, how can I stand here as a vessel, as a warrior, to teach anybody else anything? Because they're looking like, you can't tell me anything. You look the same as me, or you look worse than me, or you're wearing your depression on your face. You're never smiling, you're never doing anything. You always talk about, woe was me, whoa, blue doesn't work, whoa, this. Guess what? We're showing you the joys. We're showing you
Yeah.
the beautifulness. We're showing you the smiles in spite of the depression, in spite of the, whoa, blue is doing this. So that's the thing. So we are defending ourselves because, go ahead, go for it.
Well, and like I had a nurse practitioner tell me because I had makeup on. She goes, well, obviously you can't be doing that bad if you can put makeup on. And I said, first of all, this is the only place I get to go. I'm on bed rest. So the only place I get to go is to the doctors. And pardon me for trying to make myself feel better because my skin is breaking out. So I was wearing makeup to deflect, to try and quote look normal to everybody else. And so I was like, but because I'm doing that, you're going to say I don't deserve treatment, or I must not be in pain because I can put makeup on. And I'm like, well, obviously I would go, what do you, and I did, I was like, what do you do when you're on your lady time? Do you ever put makeup on when you're in pain? And she was like, yeah. I was like, it's the same thing. And like, I like to do that. It makes me feel better. I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm doing it for me. Um, and because you can look and present well, they think that you don't need help or you don't need things. And I really resonated when you said, I'm not just doing it for me. Like, I know that, quote, I could pass, no one would ever know I have brain surgery, but like, I feel it's very important because I want to end the stigma that just because, I mean, I know some people don't even like using the word disabled, but I do have a disability. And I know that there's some people who would be like, oh, I don't know if I want to work with her because of that. Or which the people who are around me see the strength and the tenacity, and that I continue to show up despite everything that happens, and that actually is my superpower, because not that many people can walk through hell and come out the other side and want to keep giving. So like, that's why I love Tracy, and I love, and like, when I find myself sometimes, like when I went to this TikTok shop center, I, for a second, almost didn't say I had brain surgery, because I was like, well, then what if they're like, she can't do all these things? And I go, what are you doing right now? I go, I had brain surgery. And I was like, every time I'm like, I always get loud, because I'm like, this is my chance to change their view on it. And also maybe raise awareness and them to think, because I had migraines since I was 15. And I'm not saying that all migraines are going to results in that, but the fact that so many of us, especially women, we get misdiagnosed, they think we're just stressed out. Oh, she's just stressed. But a guy, I mean, women are getting misdiagnosed for heart attacks, everything, because they just think that we're stressed. So I'm just telling you, you have to demand a scan. And I'm going to give you my favorite little phrase. You say, when they're like, oh, no, you don't need to get scanned, you go, then I want a copy of my medical documents stating that you denied me of my scan. Nine
Absolutely.
times out of 10, a doctor does not want to give that. So they're just going to go, fine, give her the scan. And I would rather have the scan and be wrong than not be here. So I'm just going to, I love during, keep giving. We will always. And that's what's so exciting is, I know with us to keep giving, the fact that Tracy gives back so much of her mind and her body, and like exercising with her, you guys. I told my husband, like, we did simple things, which was really good because I'm not too sore, but I will tell you, my back, because I'm not used to using it that way. So Tracy is helping me every Wednesday. We are going to be working out. And we would love for you guys to join us. And what's really nice is Tracy can teach you adaptive ways. So if you are one of our brain buddies who does have a different type of body, that's why I love working with her, because I kind of feel like if anybody else wants to tell me, I'm like, you haven't had a stroke, so you don't know what it's like. She has. And I could tell you, seeing her in person, like, she looks good on camera, but I was like, dang, I need to hang out with you more. Like, I was like, yes, I'm gonna get some arms, booty, I'm gonna be unstoppable. Watch out.
Lord, you are hilarious.
Sorry, went off on a tangent.
No, but it is a beautiful thing. It is a beautiful thing. I'm excited that you're doing it because, again, that right there, as I said in the beginning, vessels. People are looking, and they will say, "Oh, you don't look like you had anything wrong." And in the sense, you didn't have to explain to me when we got on a call, like, "Hey, I look like I'm in shape, but I'm not." Listen, I know what you've been through, and I'm going to take you through this as walking step by step to see what you can do. So, therefore, at the end of the day, we can make sure you're doing everything properly. I'm going to step back, I'm going to break things down, all of the above, to make sure you're getting corrective exercise, to make sure you're getting the best benefits for your body. So, this is your journey that you wanted to push for yourself, but it's also part of your recovery. This is going to push you further in just life all the way around. And again, because we are those vessels, we are those warriors, people on the outside are going to look and say, wow, we could actually make this happen. I could actually take it to the next level. I could actually do more. I could actually push more for myself. And again, guys, this is why we are so vocal with our journey, vocal with the things that we've gone through. And I'm going to say it again. If you missed the beginning, I got that message from Pastor Stephen Furtick, and it was called The Page Turner. understand it. And I took that in the sense that we get our greatest stories from our mess, and that mess that we experience is the mess of having a stroke. It was very messy, and it left us in a situation to now what our family, our loved ones, and our initial reaction was, oh my gosh, the stroke is the villain. But the reality is the vessel has come out of the villain, and we are now voices of the community to teach them and to show them, hey, the grace of our life you can also have, and God has placed us in this situation for a reason, to give you hope, to give you life, and to push you to keep going. So
It's so beautiful.
next week, guys, we're going to touch base, and I have to say it so I can remember it. We're going to touch base on the fact of the reality of appearance, why appearance matters, and what that means in the world of dealing with people with disabilities or whatnot. How people look at an appearance, how people perceive you because of your appearance, all of these things, and then talk about self-care and love, and how important appearance is to us as survivors for our own internal self-care, our own internal happiness. So we love y'all. We will see y'all next
Love you
week.
guys. Bye, guys. Come
Bye.
back.